Right. So, what I'm going to do in this video is we're going to do a whole lot of our distance formula friend there. The reason for it is because we keep doing things over and over. We're not even going to refer to this formula anymore. We're just going to know. And again, and I mentioned before, just by learning the distance formula, we really don't use it a lot in like real life. We measure. But one, we're gonna practice using a formula, which is gonna help you with other formulas. Two, there's gonna be some review of the whole negative thing, like what happens if I have a negative and I replace one of the x's with the negative, so negative make positive. It's gonna help with a little bit of like working with squares and then working with square roots. So that's why I emphasize it, not so much because the distance formula is this super amazing useful thing. It gets you ready to do the other stuff. So we are going to cover, I believe, 20 of these, including one that's in a little different format, but we'll go over that later. So let's get started. So there are our 2 points. And you know what? Let's just, so we can be consistent, let's go ahead and just start highlighting. So that's going to be my x1. This one's going to be my x2. Also want you to keep in mind how many times I make a mistake in mixing up my x1s and x2s going through all these, because we get so used to things and then we start going really quickly, and then when we go really quickly, we make mistakes no matter how long we've been doing these. So I kind of have them all marked off. So then for sake of doing math in Word is really difficult. So we do a lot of shortcuts. All right, so formula says x2 minus x1. My x2 is a 4. My x1 is a 0. We love that. Let's go ahead and just take care of the math on that, because that one's pretty much just does itself. And then we're going to go y2, which is a 3 minus 0. Oh my goodness, we love that. Let's just go and take care of the math on that one. All right, now we're going to square each one. All right, so we're going to go ahead and 4 times 4. That's going to be 16. Plus the square of 3 times 3, which is 9. That's going to give me 25. And the square root of 25 is actually a whole number, because 5 times 5 equals 25. So the distance in this case is 5. All right. So let's go ahead and bring up the next contestant. All right, let's start off just what we were doing before. So here's my x1. Here's my y1. Yellow. Here's my x2. You can start seeing where mistakes start happening, right? And here is my y2. All right. So the formula says we do x2 minus x1, and then we do y2 minus y1. Head back, we'll do the arithmetic on it. 5 minus 1 is 4. Just did the square on that one, so we probably know that one. And 4 minus 1 is 3. Oh, look at that. This is all sounding very familiar. So 4 times 4, which is the square, is 16. 3 times 3 is 9, which is equals 25, which, if we remember, 5 times 5 equals 25, which means 5 is the square root of 25. So both of those had distance of 5. I don't think the next one, just looking at the numbers, is going to equal 5. So we get a little change off of that one. Start off our x1, our y1, and you can see that it's going to be a little different because we already have a negative starting off. That's our x2. And here's our y2. Right. So we take x2 minus y1, or x2 minus x1. And you can already see that that one's going to be a little different than what we've seen. And then y2 minus y1. And now y1 is negative 13. So the negative and negative make a positive. So now we actually have positive 13. So let's go back here and do this one. 1 minus 5. Now, since the negative is greater, that means we're stronger on the negative side. So, but let's just take it from the 1. If we're moving, and the negative just means we're moving to the left 5 spaces. So that would mean we go to 0, to 1, to 2, to 3, to 4. Negative 4 is what we're done. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Now 9 plus 13 is going to be 22. Now we square both of them. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. 22 times 22, and I know we played with that one a little bit, but I'm going to go to the calculator. Was it 444, something like that? No, we've encountered that one a couple of times. 484, there it is. 484. And so now we're going to add those together. And I believe 6 plus 4 is going to be 0. Carry the 1, 9, 10. Oh, we're going to carry the 1 again. It's going to be 500. All right. Well, now we need to take the square root of 500. I can't think of anything right off the bat, like a whole number that is the square root of 500. I'll pop that in my calculator and get 22.36. Do not be afraid to use the calculator. And that seems like a good answer because 484 was made up of 22 times 22. So we can kind of just have an easy judgment. Like if it came out to be like 700, that wouldn't make as much sense. But so we're not going to double check the exact math on it, but we knew it was going to be bigger than 484 because of 22 times 22 is 484 plus the little bit that the 16 adds onto it, which gives us those little decimals. Right. So let's go ahead and mark our x1, our y1, and again, we're working with the negative right there. Yay, 0 for x2, like that, love those zeros. And then y2. Right. So 6, or no, 0 minus 6. I will come back to that. Let's do the y. So y2, which is 8, minus y1. There. Yeah, y1, which is already negative. So negative and negative is going to make that positive. Positive 14. Oops, not positive $sign. Positive 14. All right. So 0 minus 6 just means move left to the left 6 places from 0. Which is negative 6. 8 plus 14 is, I believe, 22. 6 would be 20. Yep, 22. And we know what that is squared. But first, let's do -6 times -6 is going to be 36 plus 484 because 22 times 22 is 484. And then 36 plus 484, I'm going to go to the handy dandy calculator. 484 plus 36. 520. Again, I don't know right off the top of my head a whole number that is the square root of 520. Go calculator, and so we're at 22.8, which makes sense because we were dealing with 484, which the square root of 484 is 22. So we're right in the neighborhood where we should be. All right. Here we go. Let's mark these up first. So there's our x1. Here is our y1, and we can already see that it is negative. And then x2. I like that it's a 1. That makes the math easy. And then 9 is going to be our y2. So we start off with our x2 minus x1. So x2 is 1 minus 7. And then our x2 minus 13, one makes it a positive. All right, we go back to do the arithmetic. 1 minus 7 is going to be -6. And 9 plus 13 is going to be 22. Huh, where have we seen that number before? All right, -6 times -6 is positive 36. 22 times 22 is 484. We add those together again. Can we just add those together? Is it going to be the same answer? 484 plus 36. It's going to be 520. We take the square root of that, 22.8. So same answer. All right, let's keep going. So we're going to mark our x1. We're going to mark our y1. We're going to mark our x2. And then we're going to mark our y2. All right. So we start off with x2 minus x1. Awesome. And then y2 minus y1. Go back to your little arithmetic. 10 minus 2 is 8. And then we're going to look at 18 minus 3, which is 15. All right. Well, now we need to square both of those. So 8 times 8 is 64. Plus 15 times 15. I'm going to go to the calculator. In the 300 area? Not even close. 25. So 2.5. When we add those together, go ahead to the calculator again. Plus 64. It's 289. We're going to take the square root of 289. 17. Oh, wow. Look at whole number. I didn't know that one. So there we go. Distance is 17. Let's keep moving forward. So 3 is going to be our x1. Y1 is 4. Our x2 is 0. Yay. And our y2 is 8. So we're going to take x2, 0 minus x1, which is 3, and 0 minus 3 is -3. So let's go ahead and just take care of that one right now. Then we have our y2, which is 8 minus 4. And when we do the arithmetic on that, 8 minus 4 is 4. All right, we've seen these numbers before. -3 times -3 is 9. And then 4 times 4 is 16, which is going to give us 25. Square root of 25 is 5 because 5 times 5 equals 5. All right. X1 is 4. Y1 is 5. X2 is 1. Y2 is 9. That kind of blew over, but I don't feel like fixing it. All right, x2 minus x1 is going to be 1 minus 4. Y2, 9 minus y1, 5. So let's go back and do the arithmetic on these. 1 minus 4 is going to be -3. 9 minus 5 is going to be 4. Now let's square them. -3 times -3 is +9, and 14. Or 4 times 4 is going to be 16, which equals 25. And then we take the square root of 25, and we know that 5 times 5 equals 25. So the square root of 25 is 5. All right, let's start marking things up. I love seeing these ones here because that makes it easier. 1, that's our x1, our y1, our x2, our y2. Let's do some math. X2 minus x1 is going to be 5 minus 1. And then y2, which is 4, minus y1, which is 1. Okay, do the arithmetic. 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. We've seen these numbers before. 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 3 is 9. 16 plus 9 equals 25. Square root of 25 is 5. All right. So x1 is 2, y1 is 2, x1 is 6, y2 is 5. Right, x1 or x2 minus x1, y2 is y1. 6 minus 2 is 4. And 5 minus 2 is 3. Huh, look familiar? 4 times 4 is 16. plus 3 times 3 is 9, which equals 25. And the square root of 25 is 5 because 5 times 5 equals 25. All right. X1 is 3. Y1 is 3. X2 is 7. Y2 is 6. All right. So we are going to take X1 or X2 minus X1. And then we are going to take Y2 minus 1. All right. Arithmetic time. 7 minus 3 is 4. And we've seen that number before. 6 minus 3 is 3. 4 times 4 is 16. Plus 3 times 3 is 9. 16 plus 9 equals 25. The square root of 25 is 5 because 5 times 5 equals 25. All right. So now we're going to mark up X1. And we'll mark Y1. Yay, 0 for X2. And then 6 for Y2. Oops, change that color to blue. Nope, whatever. Now it's not going to let me do stuff. All right. So X2 minus Y or X1 is going to be 0 minus 5. And because 0 minus 5 is going to equal negative 5. Y2, which is 6, minus negative 14. Negative and a negative make positive, so that's going to be positive 14. Let's go back and put in that plus sign. All right. So 6 plus 14 is going to equal 20. So we got some different numbers here. So then we add, well, no, actually we're going to square both of them. So negative 5 times negative 5, positive 25, plus 20 times 20, which is going to the calculator. 20 times 20, 400. 400 plus 25 equals 425. And then we go to the calculator to figure out the square root of 425. It's going to be 20.61. And makes sense because square root of 400 is 20. So we know we're in the correct neighborhood on that. All right. 6 is our X1. Negative 13 is our Y1. 0 is going to be our X2. And 8 will be our Y2. Right. So 0 minus 6. Well, 0 minus 6 is going to be negative 6. And then y2, which is 0, minus negative 13, and negative equals positive, so it's just going to be 13. Negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36, plus 13 times 13. We're going to ask Mr. Calculator. So 13 times 13, 169, plus 36, 205. So let's go ahead and put this. That's going to equal 205. And then we're going to see what the square root of that is, especially since we still have that hanging out in our calculator. It's be 14.31 or 14.38. We round it properly. I think we're getting towards the end, but again, it's good to repeat this. We want the repetition. All right. So 7 is our x1. Negative 12 is our y1. 1 is our x2. And 9 is our y2. All right, so x2, which is 1, minus x1, which is 7. And then y2, which is 9, minus y1, which is negative 12. So the negative and negative are going to make a positive. All right, and then we need the squares. Well, actually, we need to go back and do the arithmetic first. So 1 minus 7 is actually going to be negative 6. And then 9 plus 12 is going to be 21. So then negative 6 times negative 6, 36. And 21 times 21 is something we asked the calculator. Or 41. And then 441 plus 36 is 477. And then the square root of 477, we go to our calculator. And it is 2.8, or excuse me, 21.84. So 1 is our x1, 2 is our y2, 9 is our x2, 17 is our y2. Right, x2 minus x1 is going to be 9 minus 1. And then y2, 17 minus y1, just 2. So 9 minus 1, that is 8. And 17 minus 2 is 15. All right, 8 times 8 is 64. And 15 times 15. I have a feeling we did that one at some point, but I don't recall. So 15 times 15 is 225. And then 225 plus 64 would be 289. Then we take the square root of 289. The square root of 289 is going, 17. Whole number. Woo-hoo. All right. 2 is our x1, our y1 is 3. Our x2 is 0. And our y2 is 8. And then we do x2 minus x1, and 0 minus 2 is -2. And then y2 minus 1 is 8 minus 3. Well, 8 minus 3 is 5. I hope by this time you know what the square of 5 is. But we're going to do 2 first. -2 times -2 is 4. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 plus 4 equals 29. And the square root of 29 is going to be something the calculator tells us. 29, so it's 5.39. 39. About 4 more of these to do, the kind of standard ones, and then we'll do a slightly special one. All right, so our x1 is 3, our y1 is 4, x2 is 0, y2 is 6. Right, x2 minus x1 is going to be 0 minus 3. And then 0 minus 3 is just going to be -3. And then y2, 6 minus y1, 4. Well, 6 minus 4 is 2. -3 times -3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. 9 plus 4 is 13. And the square root of 13 is going to be 3.61. 3.61. Closing in on the end here. So our x1 is 0. Our y1 is 0. So that's known as the origin on our Cartesian plane, 0, 0. x2 is 4, y2 is 3. X2 minus x1. Well, 4 minus 0 is just going to be 4. And then y2 minus y1. But 3 minus 0 is just 3, so we can just go ahead and do that quickly. All right, we've seen these numbers before. 4 times 4 is 16. And 3 times 3 is 9. 16 plus 9 is 25. The square root of 25 is 5 because 5 times 5 equals 25. All right. So x1 is 1. Y1 is 1. X2 is 5. Y2 is 4. Right. So then x2 minus x1 and y2 minus y1. So 5 minus 1 is 4. And 4 minus 1 is 3. We've seen these numbers before. So 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 3 is 9. 16 plus 9 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5 because 5 times 5 equals 25. All right, last one of these. We'll go ahead and mark up our x1, which is 2. Our y1 is 2. Our x1 is 6. And our y2 is 5. All right, x2, 6 minus x1, 2. Y2, which is 5 minus y1, which is 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. And 5 minus 2 is 3. And we've seen these numbers before. So 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 3 is 9. 16 plus 9 is 25. And the square root of 25 is 5 because 5 times 5 makes 25. All right, one last one here. This one's a little different format. So before we were giving you the points. In this one, it's on a graph. So that just means you have to just translate things over to graphs. It's one more step. That doesn't really matter which one is 0.1 or 0.2. So I, kind of like reading, I like to go right to left, or actually left to right. Kind of reading am I doing? So I'm just going to make a point. Minus 2, that's the first point, and 1. Second point is 4 and 3. All right, so now I'm back to where we've been doing these last problems. So that's our x1, our y1, x2, y2. All right, so now we do x2 minus x1. So it's already a negative, so a negative make a positive. So we're going to be adding 2. And then we're going to do y2 minus y1. Okay, we'll go back and do the arithmetic. 4 plus 2 is 6. 3 minus 1 is 2. All right. 6 times 6 is 36. 2 times 2 is 4. 36 and 4 is 40. Square root of 40 is, then we ask the calculator. It's going to be 6.32. And so we can, even if we're not given the points and we're just shown it on the graph, it's just one extra step. We just write down the points, doesn't matter which order, and then we just jump into our distance formula. All right, I hope you were working along, get this into your, as a habit, and I'll talk to you soon.